All right, we got 4 ways to get rid of anxiety, 4 things that help my anxiety, because I think we all kind of can live in this anxious state. I've tried to learn to objectify my anxiousness a little bit. Like, I'm not an anxious person. I'm just a person that sometimes gets anxious. And when I can see anxiousness this way, it's almost like a signal to me that I'm out of balance. It forces me to ask, okay, what would get me back into balance? And I think that's just what I want this video to cover, is how to get back into balance when I'm feeling in an anxious state. It's helpful to start off by saying anxiousness isn't a bad thing. It's a survival instinct. I think of it as like a threat detection mechanism. Like, if there's a tiger behind the bush, I want to feel anxious. It's my body and mind telling me danger, danger, danger. There might be a fucking tiger over there. Be careful. And I think that's helpful. It's a survival mechanism. If our ancestors weren't anxious, they would have died in nature. And so it's not a bad thing, but to be living in an anxious state all the time is to be living in fight or flight, to always be looking for threats. We're always trying to survive. I think it's helpful to ask yourself, what kind of life am I living? And if I'm always in survival, if I'm always just trying to get by without too much pain, if I'm always just trying to overcome the threat at hand, what am I building with my life? And that's what I ask myself. If I can't get out of survival, I never get to get into a thriving state. And so without the ability to objectify and look at anxiousness as I'm out of balance, we don't have that ability to get into a thriving state. So maybe that's a good preface that one of these 4 tips will resonate. Let's get right into it. Here's 4 ways to get rid of anxiety. Number 1 is to exercise intensely and break a sweat. So I've been living in a hotel. I've been reminded of how important it is to exercise. Like, I have my dog, and my dog is a great example of this, that animals in captivity go crazy. They are not themselves. Am I right, buddy? You go crazy when you're locked up in this room too long? And so what's the easiest way to get my dog back into his baseline level of like a chill behavior? It's to exercise the hell out of him. We are not that different. We are animals too. We are human beings. And Joe Rogan puts this really well. He says that us humans as an organism need struggle. We evolved with struggle. And when we don't have struggle, we orchestrate struggle. We start to find things in our life. We start to worry about all these silly things. And Joe Rogan puts it like, you have to orchestrate your own struggle. And one of the best ways to do that is just to have a good fucking workout.
The human organism, the animal that we are, needs constant stimulation because it evolved trying to find food and escape enemies and find shelter, escape nature, escape the elements, try to survive. We have been fed this line of horseshit that you're supposed to seek comfort. And I don't think you are. I think you're supposed to seek lessons, and you're supposed to seek difficult tasks and accomplishments. And through those things, and through doing things that are hard to do, even if it's just a fucking 90-minute hot yoga class, through that struggle, I will now have a better day. And I better fucking do it again tomorrow. Or do something else, because if I just think, well, tomorrow I'm just gonna coast and eat Twinkies and watch TV. Oh, hello, sadness, my old friend. Hello, depression. Because when you're not doing anything, you feel like shit. And that's just a part of being a human being. And we can pretend that we're something other than what we really are. And we can pretend, nah, me, man, I'm just cool, just chilling, doing nothing. Bullshit. You're a fucking human. You're a human being. You evolved from the fucking hundreds of thousands of years of hunters and gatherers and people that were struggling. Those human reward systems are carved deeply into your DNA. And if you don't respect that, if you don't respect the mechanism of happiness and fulfillment and what you really need to do in order to feel satisfied in life, love, family, friendship, struggle, testing yourself, learning, all those things are imperative. They're all a giant part of being a person.
And I so resonate with that. Like, in this hotel, I've gotten a little anxious, and as soon as I did a really hard workout, I felt so much better. And not just like a walk, not like just a quick 10-minute jog, but like a real hard workout. It's such a good way to just snap myself back to my baseline and like basically take care of my inner animal.
I'm still out here running. Sometimes I don't want to do shit. I'm like all of you. I think we're all the same. We get lazy. We don't realize that we can just overcome that initial resistance, as Stephen Pressfield calls it. You feel better. You feel a lot better.
Number 2 is journaling. This is one of my favorite tools tools. I talk about it all the time on my podcast. If our anxious mind is like a knot, journaling is the way to untie that knot. Journaling is such a good way to take inventory of all the open tabs of your mind. When things just feel messy and unclear, journaling, just sitting down and writing about whatever the hell you want, like helps you bring so much clarity to, okay, what is actually in front of me? What's important? What's not? What can I let go of? What can I pay more attention to? And I think the simple act of just being clear on what's going on in the mind can relieve so much anxiety. And the best part about journaling is that there's no really wrong way to do it. Just sit down for 10 minutes and write about what you're thinking about and see if you don't leave that 10-minute session feeling way more at ease, calm, and relaxed. I also have a journaling course out. It's called Finding Direction and Clarity Through Self-Reflection. I'll put that in the YouTube thing. Another little hack is when you're journaling, try to write down 3 of your goals as if you've already accomplished them. Like identify 3 goals and write about them in the present tense. This is almost tricking our brain because remember that anxiousness is like surviving and we want to be thriving. So by writing about your goals as if they've already happened, getting enthusiastic about them, we're almost tricking our brain out of that survival instinct. Visualizing maybe a bigger picture, you're almost tricking your brain out of that survival state and into a more long-term thriving state. And it puts those little stressors in perspective sometimes. Number 3, this might be the most important one. Well, I mean, these are all kind of important, I don't know, but number 3 is to unplug. We have so much information being brought to our attention. When we're anxious, we just have so much going on in our mind. We have our stresses, our worries, our concerns, our hope, our fears, our relationships, our job. And on top of that, we have so much information, hundreds and hundreds of bits of information being downloaded and received into our brains because of social media, because of the TV. Not only now are we thinking about our own lives, but we're thinking about the lives of others. We're thinking about celebrities and what the world is doing. And if you think of it, like when we're anxious, it's almost like the mind is clogged. If the pipe is clogged, the last thing you want to do is add more shit down the drain. You're just going to worsen the clog. But so many of us live in this low anxious state, and then we add all this information from social media, probably because it's kind of like a nice escape, but it's just causing more of a problem. Yeah, that's not good. I do it all the time. Alan Watts had this really good quote that says, "Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone." I love that because our mind is like this muddy water and so much we're just trying to add shit to it or stir it up. And if you think of your mind as muddy water, the best thing you can do for it is to leave it alone. And that might mean put the phone down, unplug, stop adding information to this overly cluttered mind. Too many thoughts will make us feel crazy, and consuming information on the internet is only adding to excess thoughts. So take Alan Watts' advice perhaps and just leave it alone. Unplug. And this is one of the hardest things to follow, myself included. I'm addicted to Instagram. I'm addicted to YouTube. I know consciously that I want to take more breaks, and I try to, but sometimes it can be difficult. So have that mindfulness that like these are addictive platforms by design. It's not always easy to put them down, but if you can be mindful and intentional about it, it may be the very best thing you can do for that anxious mind. Number 4 is connecting spiritually. This one might be a little bit personal, but my anxiousness is often a result of my human tendency to try to control the uncontrollable, to try to control every outcome, to know all the answers to things I can't know the answers to. What is the opposite of trying to control? What is the opposite of trying to force everything to happen? It would be to let go. It would be to surrender, to trust. And to me, that has spiritual implications to it. That means trusting the moment is enough. Right now is enough. Where I am is enough. Even though my mind wants me to think about the future and all these details, can I come back to right now and trust that this is okay? Can I have trust in nature? Trust in this greater whatever fucking thing this is that makes mountains and trees and animals that are in perfect balance? Can I trust that there is something greater than me orchestrating things beyond my knowing, and that I can't control that, but can I just surrender to that? That's a really helpful way for me to think about things when I feel anxious, is just surrender control. Another Alan Watts quote that I like, that I'm probably butcher, but he says like, you can't receive with a clenched fist. And if you think about anxiousness, it's kind of just like that clenched fist. It's squeezing, it's clenching, it's trying to control everything. And the opposite of that is often just letting go, opening, and letting yourself receive what is there. And I think that's beautiful. To me, that is spiritual. To me, that is trusting something greater than yourself. And I think that releasing control is one of the best ways to slip out of anxiety and back into a more present, peaceful, and happy state. So that's 4 ways I deal with my anxiety, 4 of my favorite ways at least. And so if there are any ways that stood out to you, let me know. Or if there's ways that you deal with anxiety that you want to let me know of, that would be cool too. I love connecting with people that are on a similar journey and path as me. So if you found me on the internet world somehow, don't be a stranger. Say hello, say what up. Thank you for watching until the end of this video. And that's all I got. Love you. Peace out. Say bye, buddy. Say bye. Okay, bye.